We're following breaking news out of Michigan as we come on the air tonight. This is a live look now from Michigan State University's campus in East Lansing, where at least one person we're told is dead after shots were fired at two separate locations around campus tonight. CNN just in the last few minutes also reporting that 5 others have been injured. Now, investigators say there appears to only be one suspect who they are still searching for right now. They're also still working to secure campus. It has been placed under a shelter-in-place order, although you can see several people out on the sidewalk there right now. Agents from the FBI and ATF also responded to the scene. We're keeping an eye on this situation. There's supposed to be a news conference anytime now. We'll try and get to that live as soon as we can. And we're going to continue to follow the story both on air and online as we get any new information. An estimated 800,000 people in the U.S., meanwhile, suffer from a heart attack every year. This is according to medical professionals from Kettering Health. Over the next week, hospitals here in the Miami Valley are spreading awareness about the importance of cardiac rehabilitation in someone's recovery. So Gwyneth Falloon spoke with the experts and joins us live now. And Gwen, how critical are things like rehabilitation to someone's recovery?
Megan, experts tell me it's extremely important. Like you said, hundreds of thousands of people suffer from a heart attack every year, and that's just here in the U.S. However, cardiac rehabilitation not only maintains your health, but it also extends your life. Experts warn you only have about a 65% survival rate if you don't partake in cardiac rehab.
So, Gwen, what can people do at home in their daily lives then to reduce their risks of any heart problems?
Well, there are a number of different things that you can do. The first, though, health officials say things like daily exercise, even if that's just a quick 15-minute walk around your neighborhood, as well as reducing or limiting your stress levels, are all preventative measures. They also say that you should be eating a heart-healthy diet.
Eating low fat, low sodium, low cholesterol diet, really kind of moving away from those higher fatty foods. Not that you can't have pizza, when you want it occasionally, but not doing it maybe 3 times a week.
Now, some other precautionary measures are just having an annual checkup. They say if you're experiencing things like a racing heart, chest pain that radiates to your arm or other parts of the body, or shortness of breath, they recommend that you call your provider, as these could be symptoms of a more serious heart condition, and they say early detection is key. Back to you.
Gwen, thanks so much. A live look now from downtown Troy tonight. An absolutely gorgeous day here in the Miami Valley today. And Natalie, it's kind of a mild night even. Doesn't feel like February at all.
Yeah, not at all. This week won't feel like February at all until Friday. Then it will start to feel a little bit more like it. Right now we're sitting at 40 in Dayton. A little chilly, but this isn't too bad for a February evening. 34 in Richmond, 30 up in Wapakoneta right now. We do have our next weather maker, which is making its way in. Cloud cover will increase as we head into the day tomorrow, and then we'll eventually see some rain chances in the forecast through the day tomorrow as well. So kids heading out to the bus stop tomorrow morning, coat needed in the morning hours, but by the afternoon, we warm up into the mid-50s. There's also a small chance for a shower by later into the afternoon, but bigger rain chances do arrive tomorrow night. So coming up, I am going to time out the rest of the week's forecast, talk about our next big storm system that'll also bring the potential for some stronger storms too.
All right, we're continuing to follow that breaking news out of Michigan that we began the show with. This is the news conference happening right now on the campus of Michigan State University, where there's been an active shooter tonight. Let's listen in.
But that information may change as it's preliminary. This incident started this evening around 8:18 p.m. at Berkey Hall on campus. We received multiple 911 calls of a shooting inside Berkey Hall. Numerous officers responded. We were quickly on scene within minutes, and there we did locate several victims of a shooting. The incident did move to a building in close proximity, the Michigan State University Union building, where there was another report of a shooting immediately following the first incident. Police and emergency responders acted quickly. We tended to the victims at both of those scenes, and there was an overwhelming law enforcement response to campus to help with this situation. I can confirm that there were at least 5 victims. All 5 victims were transported to the hospital. Some of those victims do have life-threatening injuries. The suspect in this incident, and we believe there to be one suspect, was last seen leaving the MSU Union on foot out of the north side of that building. We are just receiving surveillance footage of that suspect that we will be releasing shortly. Initial information is that the suspect is a black male, shorter in stature, wearing red shoes, a jean jacket, and a ball cap. And we will follow up with additional descriptors of that suspect. Community members on and off campus should remain sheltered in place. We immediately launched our emergency notification system and advised the entire MSU campus to shelter in place as this suspect is still outstanding. For people on campus, please do not come to campus. I can't say that enough. For parents, we understand. I can only imagine the emotion that's involved right now. It's going to help us, and it's going to help our response, and it's going to help us identify the shooter, the less people that are on campus at this point. Please do not come to campus. We are doing everything we can to ensure the safety of our campus and all of our students. We currently have hundreds of police officers and law enforcement officials, state, local, and federal, on campus working in a coordinated effort to ensure the safety of campus and identify and apprehend the suspect. All campus activities.
All right, you've been listening in on a news conference happening right now. This is in East Lansing at Michigan State University, where tonight there was an active shooter situation. As you heard the chief there say, it started in one hall, moved to a second. There are at least 5 victims. He says some with life-threatening injuries. However, it was incorrectly reported initially that at least one person was dead. He says that is not the case. 5 victims, however, again, some with life-threatening injuries. They are still searching for that shooter tonight. He says hundreds of law enforcement have responded to campus. They are urging all students to shelter in place, as this is still an ongoing situation that we're going to keep an eye on, and we will be sure to update you here on air and online as anything new happens at Dayton247now.com. Well, tonight we're learning the judge in the case of the Butler Township quadruple murder has ordered a second opinion on the competency and sanity of the accused suspect. Stephen Marlowe was accused of killing 4 people in their homes last August. An initial competency report was submitted to the court on February 1st, but the state and Marlowe's defense attorneys have requested another. That has to be filed in the next 30 days. So Marlowe pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity back in December. That means he has to complete a competency evaluation to see if he is fit to stand trial. Someone is defined as incompetent if they are, quote, incapable of understanding the nature and objective of the proceedings against the defendant or assisting in the defendant's defense. Once the evaluation is complete, Marlowe could make another claim of serious mental illness, which, if deemed valid, would make him exempt from the death penalty if convicted. He faces 20 felony charges, including aggravated murder and aggravated burglary. Tonight, Marlowe remains locked up in the Montgomery County Jail on $10 million bond. Well, big news for Mike Sell's lovers tonight. Conn's Potato Chip Company has gotten the license to the brand rights for Mike Sell snack products. So effective immediately, Conn's is going to start producing Mike Sell's branded products from its Zanesville facilities. Jonathan George, owner and president of Conn's, says, quote, that the licensing agreement will allow us to use the decades-old recipes and traditions of Mike Sell's to continue to deliver the quality snack food products consumers have come to expect and enjoy. Conn's has been in the potato chip and snack food business for more than 85 years. A Laura man remains in critical condition tonight after an explosion and fire Saturday night on East Pike Street. Investigators have since ruled it arson. Now we're told that 58-year-old Jack Noble was inside at the time and is now being treated for burns and smoke inhalation. We're also told that Noble's stepson, 24-year-old Seth Johnson, you see here, was arrested hours later and is now charged with aggravated arson. Take a look at this. The Darke County Sheriff's Office is investigating after they say the man you see here used counterfeit money at a local business last Thursday. Anyone with information on the incident or may know who this guy is asked to call the Darke County Sheriff's Office at the number there at the bottom of your screen. The White House today addressing the decision to shoot down 3 unidentified objects in recent days. Fighter jets shot down objects over Canada, Alaska, and one over Lake Huron over the weekend. It comes about a week after the U.S. shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby notes the 3 most recent objects were traveling at a low altitude and posed a risk to civilian air traffic. He also acknowledged their origins and purpose are still unknown, but says the decision to shoot them down was made out of an abundance of caution.
Even though we had no indications that any of these 3 objects were surveilling, we couldn't rule that out. And so you want to err on the side of safety here in terms of protecting our national security interests.
The White House also announced a new interagency team to study unidentified aerial objects. Meanwhile, as the U.S. accuses China of operating a fleet of surveillance balloons, China says the U.S. has done the same thing. China's foreign ministry says more than 10 U.S. spy balloons have been spotted in its airspace without Beijing's permission. The U.S. denies operating surveillance balloons over China. Beijing did not offer any further details or evidence on the alleged American balloons. Well, now the latest tonight from East Palestine. Residents there who filed a lawsuit in a recent train derailment along the Ohio and Pennsylvania border want to force the train company Norfolk Southern to set up health monitoring for people in both states. More than 50 train cars derailed back on February 3rd, several of them carrying toxic materials at the time. Investigators say the cause was a broken axle. 3 days after the accident, authorities released and burned vinyl chloride inside 5 tanker cars, sending hydrogen chloride you can see there up into the air. Regulators who have been monitoring the air and water in the area say the air quality remains safe. However, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance still has questions. First, he wants to know, are the air and water quality really safe for residents? He says state and federal agencies' tests are encouraging, but he's also heard alarming anecdotes about contaminated waterways and adverse effects on wildlife. Second, what are the needs of the people on the ground? Vance says the local fire department in East Palestine has dealt with the worst of this disaster, and the area needs FEMA's help to get what they need. And third, why did this happen in the first place? Senator Vance says his office is going to be investigating the train company's braking system and parts, plus how to prevent this from happening again in the future. Tonight, a local family heartbroken. They say a cemetery buried someone else in a plot that has been in their family for decades. And a story you'll only see here, the Thompson family turning to Dayton 24/7 Now's Mamie Baugh to get them answers.
In 1972, the Thompson family says their loved one was buried here at Greene Castle Cemetery. Her name, Mildred Thompson. In 2021, the family moved her to the VA to be with her husband. In December last year, they learned that the cemetery put someone else in that place. The family says this spot is rightfully theirs.
We didn't think moving her would take this spot away from our family.
From my understanding, you guys would just come here and just walk. Even though she wasn't no longer buried here.
Yeah, we still visit or what have, because her tombstone remained here.
I reached out to the state division that handles cemetery registration. It does not regulate cemetery plots or their ownership. Rules vary from cemetery to cemetery. Now, according to these rules and regulations by Greene Castle, which has been stamped by the state, it doesn't clearly express who becomes the owner of a plot if someone is moved. But in these documents, the family tells me they received from the cemetery recently, it says in the event that someone is moved, the plot goes back to Greene Castle.
Is that a common thing?
So certainly you can move someone from one place to another, but no, you still have in my experience, you would still have a right to that plot. You don't give up that plot.
Now the cemetery has changed hands a few times. I did speak with someone claiming to be the owner. He tells me that the family has been given options, but he won't tell me what those options are. He also does add that if the family is unhappy, they could take this to court. Back to you.
Mamie, thanks so much. Tonight, more than 36,000 people are confirmed dead from the 7.8 magnitude earthquake that rocked Turkey and Syria. It's been 1 week and people are still being pulled out of the rubble alive. But rescuers expect the death toll to rise as search teams find more bodies. The international community has come together to send help. Search and rescue teams from all over the globe are now there on the ground to assist. Experts say the earthquake could cost Turkey $84 billion in financial damage. New information shows that half of all child ER visits are mental health related. The details of that study coming up. And a national nonprofit is in Dayton this week. How they're raising awareness on housing insecurity in our area.
Plus, I'm tracking some more mild weather and some rain with our next weather maker that's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Well, tracking clear skies across the area this evening, but cloud cover will be building in with our next weather maker by tomorrow. So more clouds tomorrow morning, mainly high clouds, but even a shower or two possible by tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow night, the winds will start to pick up. We'll start to see rain building its way in. So heading out late tomorrow evening for Valentine's Day dinner, keep in mind that we will be tracking some rain after 8 p.m. or so. We then clear out. Wednesday's looking nice, mild. We're tracking sunshine as well as some windy conditions close to 70 degrees. And then our next weather maker on Thursday will bring us the chance for thunderstorms, potentially some on the stronger side. Lots of uncertainties as of right now, but we're going to be monitoring our day on Thursday very closely with some storms in the forecast.
Natalie, thanks. A recent CDC survey says that teen girls in the U.S. experienced record levels of mental health challenges. Brad Underwood takes a look at the factors.
Teens, especially girls, are experiencing record levels of violence, sadness, and suicide risk. The responses from the biannual CDC survey offer a first look at trends from the start of the pandemic. About 1 in 7 teen girls said at some point they've been forced to have sex. And nearly a third of teen girls seriously considered attempting suicide, and nearly 1 in 5 had experienced sexual violence in the past year.
We need to look at what's driving some of these increases in sexual violence. And that's where we need to realize this is both boys and girls, because boys in general will be perpetrating sexual violence. Certainly it can be same sex, but we need to make sure both are really focused on healthy relationships.
In total, more than 17,000 questionnaires were completed in 152 schools nationwide. In Cincinnati, I'm Brad Underwood. Back to you.
Well, a study in the journal Pediatrics finds almost half of all kids who go to the emergency room for a mental health crisis don't get the follow-up care they need. Researchers found less than 1/3 of children had an outpatient mental health visit within a week of being discharged from the ER. The study found without a follow-up, more than a quarter of the kids went back to the ER for more mental health care within 6 months of their initial visit. New reports show that the cost of child care on parents and taxpayers has more than doubled since 2018, coming in now around $122 billion a year. But one Dayton organization is making it their mission to help every child in Montgomery County. Melena Brown spoke with Preschool Promise, a nonprofit that's providing care, education, and financial assistance to local families.
Preschool Promise receives funding from the city of Dayton as well as Montgomery County to be able to financially assist families and run programs that help underserved children in the area. One of the main things that they do is send out a free book every month, as well as a play box that's filled with tools and activities that help jumpstart an early education. I'm told this is one of the many great things about the program.
Preschool Promise makes it their mission to provide high-quality childcare to all children in Montgomery County, regardless of socioeconomic status, race, gender, where they were born. Really, all children should have the same opportunity to get a high-quality early education.
The financial assistance from Preschool Promise is based on income, but they will also help you find funding that you may not know you qualify for. For Dayton 24/7 Now News, I'm Melena Brown.
A national nonprofit is in Dayton this week highlighting the need for safe, affordable housing. The Facing Project is going to feature several events focused on housing justice and homelessness. The Dayton Metro Library is kicking off the week with the eviction exhibit to raise awareness of housing insecurity and local efforts to address it.
In 2016, Dayton was one of the 26 worst cities in the United States for eviction. Lots of cities across America are facing a major eviction crisis.
Now, the events are all free and will explore the multi-system response to address homelessness. To learn more, just visit DaytonMetroLibrary.org. A live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam now over downtown Dayton. A really nice day here in the Miami Valley. And thankfully, Natalie says, I think we're in store for at least one more. But then some changes, Natalie.
Yeah, we have some very mild weather in the forecast, but then it will turn colder. But with this mild weather in the forecast, we don't have any snow in the forecast for us. Maybe some flurries on Friday, but we are well behind for the month. Hasn't been too long so far, but just a trace of precipitation of snowfall. So that puts us 3.2 inches behind for the month of February. And we, as I mentioned, really not much in the way of accumulating snowfall this week, as we're going to be close to 70 degrees for our day on Wednesday, and then it does drop quickly on Friday back into the mid-30s. So I'm going to talk about that 7-day forecast and some breezy conditions coming up in just a bit.
Natalie, thanks. The legalization of sports betting is leading to an increase in gambling addiction. Coming up, the signs to look for if you have a sports gambling problem. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now. We continue to follow breaking news out of Michigan tonight. This is a live look now at Michigan State University's Campus Police Department Twitter page. They say this is the person who opened fire on campus at 2 separate locations tonight. Officers just releasing these images in the last few minutes. Now, the police chief holding a news conference just in the last 30 minutes where he confirmed that there are 5 victims who have been shot tonight. Some of them, he says, do have life-threatening injuries, but that's as much as he said. Investigators confirming that there appears to only be this one suspect who they are still searching for right now. They're also still working to secure campus as this is all ongoing. Campus has been placed under a shelter-in-place order, and agents from the FBI and ATF responding to that scene, as well as hundreds of other law enforcement officers. We are continuing to follow this story, and we'll be sure to update you on air and online as we get any more information. For the first time in Ohio's 220-year history, those who wanted to legally place a bet on the Super Bowl got that opportunity on Sunday. But is the payoff worth it? Cassie Arsenault weighs the influx of money flowing in versus the increase in gambling addiction rearing its ugly head.
For the first time in Ohio's 220-year history, those who wanted to legally place a bet on the Super Bowl got that opportunity. In fact, more people were betting in Ohio than in the home state of the Eagles. But is the payoff worth it? Does the influx of money flowing in outweigh the increase in gambling addiction rearing its ugly head? The Problem Gambling Network of Ohio has been tracking the calls on the Ohio Gambling Helpline. Last January, they saw less than 500 calls. This January, over 1,500 calls for help came in. There are already tools for those addicted. You can self-report, put yourself on an exclusion list, and the helpline is supposed to be marked everywhere you can bet. The Problem Gambling Network of Ohio says a telltale sign you have a gambling issue is that sports betting is no longer fun, or if you're betting to win money back. If you need help, you can call the Ohio Gambling Problem Helpline at 800-589-9966. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.